Welcome, family, ladies and gentlemen, and mamas and babas, to a podcast that takes education to new heights. I'm Coach Sakile, the proud co founder of Embrace Your Free and host for Learning Outside the Box, the Homeschooling Chronicles. As a wife and mother of six incredible world schooling children, I have embarked on homeschooling journey that has really transformed our lives into a mind expanding, family bonding, and self exploratory adventure. And let me tell you, it's a journey I wouldn't trade for the world. With over 2 decades of experience in homeschooling, I've had the privilege of assisting over 7,000 families on their own homeschooling and world schooling paths through coaching, consulting, workshops, and more. Additionally, I operate the vibrant and empowering Black Homeschoolers Unite Facebook group, where we unite and uplift Black families on their homeschooling journey. So today, I'm thrilled to present to you Learning Outside the Box, the Homeschooling Chronicles. If you are a Black family who's curious about homeschooling or simply wants to learn from experienced homeschoolers who are doing amazing things, then you've come to the right place. At Learning Outside the Box, the Homeschool Chronicles, we celebrate the diversity and creativity of Black homeschoolers. We're going to showcase a variety of different stories from homeschooling families who have found their own unique path to success. Because let's face it, homeschooling is all about learning outside the box. There is no one size fits all approach to educating our children, and we're here to prove it. Through interviews and conversations, we really aim to answer your burning questions about homeschooling and really provide you with inspiration and ideas to make your own homeschooling journey a success. So join in. So without further ado, let's embark on this thrilling voyage of learning outside the box. Let's give a warm welcome to Simone, who is a devoted homeschool mom of three who has faced the challenge of building her daughter's confidence in math. She didn't just overcome it, but she shifted her daughter's perspective by introducing kitchen based education and applying practical mathematics during their shopping trips and demonstrating how hands on experiential learning can really overcome the challenges of any academic subject. So, over the past 12 years, she really decided to equip her children with critical thinking abilities and self awareness by sharing African stories with them, all while pursuing her passion as an author, photographer, and business owner. Woohoo! So I'm so happy to introduce the one and only beautiful and amazing Simone.
Greetings, everyone.
Welcome, welcome. I'm so happy to have you
I'm
today.
so happy to be here.
Yes, and we have a whole bunch of people in the chat saying hello and hi and welcome.
Yay!
So, yes. So, hello everyone. Hi. Yes. So, yes, we're so happy to have you and we are so excited to hear your journey. So, tell me, homeschooling is a path that not many families have chosen to take. So, what inspired you to take this path to educate your children? And
To start, first and foremost, my husband and I, we attended public school. So we had that firsthand experience of seeing how the school system works. And after being married, going through some of college, being confused about what we want to do in college, switching majors multiple times, we wanted better for our children. So we would see stories about homeschoolers and we'd see, homeschooler going to college 11, 14, business owners, that inspired us. We was like, where was this? We wish we had been homeschooled. And so that began our journey to prepare our children better than we were prepared. And from there, also exploring what the school system was and what it was based on, the history of it just swayed us to go back to our natural being of schooling at home.
I love that. So you are also an amazing wife.
Yes.
And I love that you put the we in it because I really believe that homeschooling is a collective. It's not something that we do solo. It's like it incorporates our significant others, our husbands, our wives, our parents, our community. It really is. It takes a village to raise a child, and when you homeschool, you really see how important the community that you were born with or the community that you create really is an asset to your educational experience for your children. This is a little bit, you know, off the topic,
No
but I
worries.
would love to learn a little bit about the community that you have cultivated when it comes to homeschooling. I know it's you and your husband, your children, but do you have other people around you that support you in this journey?
Yes, absolutely. So that's right on topic. Just like you said, community and the village is everything. So for us, we were born and raised in South Carolina, and our family there wasn't so supportive in homeschooling, as well as when you start the homeschooling journey, you look into the laws in that state, and for what we wanted in our homeschooling journey versus what the law said, basically roughly saying do public school at home. That wasn't what we were looking for. So we searched the web. We were looking for African centered education, and we came across a blog that was connected to Liberated Minds Expo. And we said, well, we need to go there. That looks like what we're looking for. And we went to that expo, and our daughter was only, at the time, she was one when we were researching, two when we attended our first expo, and
Um,
that was what boosted us to move to Georgia, to be closer to like-minded people, to build our village, and here we have been for the last 10 years,
wow.
10 years.
Yes, I think I might have met you at that expo
Yes, yes.
10 years ago.
That was where I met Coach Keely.
Yes,
Absolutely, yes,
wow, that was 10 years.
yes.
Time really
It
flies.
does.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing that,
You're
your journey
welcome.
of how, like, it's important to figure out exactly what you're looking for when it comes to homeschooling and the support that's necessary for you, and if your state and your family is not necessarily providing it for you, you may have to move or you might have to search out other communities, which is what you did, and now look at you
Yes.
10 years later. So that
Yes.
is amazing. So, can you tell me a little bit about some of the benefits that you have witnessed in your homeschooling journey with your
Yeah.
family?
Yeah, so number one benefit is just the protection and security of our children. As we started to see the heartbreaking stories of what sometimes go on in the school system, it really made us helicopter parents. So it's like, we don't want you all out of our sight. And it's not a bad thing, but it definitely has to be balanced. So with that, we looked into um, just creating a safe space, build with like minds, because the first thing you hear when you're homeschooling is socialization. How do you socialize? So it's like, well, how did we socialize in school? Well, there wasn't much socialization. It was a lot of indoctrination, and
Indoctrination.
honestly, in the school systems, we were around some peers that weren't to the best of our development. They did kind of steer us in the wrong way. So we did a lot of going to the playground. We did a lot of uh, looking into curriculum, looking more into our children, looking more at what they wanted to learn. And at the time, we had one child, so she was everything. Like, she was into everything, energy everywhere, and we were like, we want this to stay up, because we know when we were in the school system, after a while, we weren't as vibrant, we weren't as energetic, we were very stressed out children. And so, that just made us really look into how do we look at her and what she wants to learn and combine it with what we want for her future. And with that, there has been just some trial and error. You listen to what they would like to do, but also incorporate what they need, and just balance it out. And it changes through the years. What they may be interested in as a child, as we'll get into later, like math was her thing, but then they reach those walls where, okay, there's a little bit of difficulty in learning it, so they get pushback, and then you just fight through that as well.
Absolutely. I love it. So I think it was just powerful what you shared because, like you said, a lot of families are concerned about socialization and like what it is. And to think about it, like, do you really want your child socialized or indoctrinated by their fellow classmates? Like, what
Right.
are they? Do you want your children to be like those children? Like, really? And then also, socialization doesn't just happen with our peers. We also are socialized by our parents and our elders and other members, different organizations we can have different social experiences from. And so, like I said, like you were saying, it's important to find those like-minded, families so that your children can, have someone to interact with in a positive way that maybe share the same values and principles. And also, like you said, and really encourage them to keep that positive attitude when it comes to learning, because when they're children, when they're babies and they're toddlers, like they're sponges, like everything's so new and exciting, and learning
Absolutely.
is just who they are. It's just what they do. It's just like, I am someone that is absorbing information and learning, and this is fun. But then
Yes.
somehow it gets lost in translation in the school system when it turns from learning and education to more training and indoctrination, which is very different from like actual education, which we hear comes
Exactly.
from within. And a lot of times it's inspired. And so I love what you shared. Now, you were speaking about how your daughter loved math and it shifted. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the challenges that you face in homeschooling and how you were able to overcome those obstacles and challenges.
Yes. So, most of the challenges is just like, say, when we came across math, fractions, to be exact. She was like, what is this? And to anyone really, I'm sure some of you, as you sit at the table with your children doing their homework, you're like, I need a refresher course. So I definitely had to look back at some of my textbooks and, do some research and try to find an approach that reached her to make it fun, because I saw her she really started to get stressed out and she loved the math. I mean, really loved it, to where every night before she go to bed, on top of reading a stack of books that we would read to her and she read to herself, she would want to do math.
Wow.
So I saw that shift automatically, and I'm like, okay, this can go really south if we don't find a way to bring it back in. So one of the approaches was, we had a Kamali Academy workbook that
Mm,
had a watermark of an African girl in the background. And I thought about just the fact of her seeing herself in the work that she's doing, how that can bring joy and excitement, on top
exactly.
of taking our time to use, what do you call, manipulatives, using, say, before we got into the kitchen, just some hands-on beads and whatnot, or circles and shapes and stuff, and breaking those into pieces to show fractions. Well, she got the concept then, but it didn't get fun. It didn't become fun until we were in the kitchen,
Uh,
and she started baking, and we're cooking, and she's pouring the things into the measuring cups, and we're like, yes, that's 1/3, and then 1/3 plus this 1/4 is this, and it clicked just like that, to where
mm,
now she has a baking company. She has yes, that's when we said, what would you like to do to create a business? She said, I want to bake. So it's
Mhm.
still in its beginning stages. Right now, she's even transformed it to where it's baked goods and drinks. So I'm like, okay,
Beverages.
we're going to the flea market soon. We're setting up shop, and I'm just loving that it's encouraging her to be more hands on with the math, and I don't have to stress her out anymore.
Yes. Now it's like she's motivated because it's something that
Yes,
she's passionate about, that she loves. So she
yes,
wants to do it. So she found that love again. Because
right.
before, like you were saying, she was, reading stacks of books. She was wanting to do math every,
Mhm.
night, but it shifted. But you're able to find that spark and reignite that love of
Yes,
learning math. And it's a way that can be profitable. So not
yes,
only is she learning math, but also she's probably learning business skills and organization and all these other powerful attributes that you may not learn if you're just learning math. So it's a
right,
very holistic approach to
yeah,
learning, where it's touching on a variety of subjects that are, very important to just life overall. And she'll learn
yeah,
some amazing principles and work ethic and all kind of,
right,
amazing, you know, skills. So
yes,
that's fantastic.
yes.
So I love that so much. So can you tell me, like, for those family members that are thinking about beginning this amazing homeschooling journey, they're curious about it. Like, what are some tips or advice that you would give them?
Okay. That's good that you asked that, because that flowed to me this rising. I was like, I have tips that I can offer. Yes, absolutely. So, first and foremost, you want to know your why. And for us to veg you back on what you said, what motivated us in that, in the cons, is to spend that time with your children. They're only children for but a small window of time. I mean, very small. And you want to be that parent that is hands on and able to help grow them into the adult that you would love them to be. Of course, they're going to have their own journey here. Um, but an interesting aspect of homeschooling is the fact that it transforms you as well as a parent. And that's one thing, that a con that I didn't expect, but I love, because we're ever evolving. We're always learning, right beside them. And it's okay to say you don't know, and you all explore together. So definitely know your why. And once you reach that why, do your research on that state, whatever your state laws is, to see what is required in that state, and if you want to stay in that state in order to homeschool. And there's definitely, ways that you can maneuver around to still instill what they want to by the law, and add what is needed and required. For us, a big thing was teaching love, self awareness, culture. That's something we did not receive in our upbringing. And until we moved into adulthood and opened the right books and learned about ourselves, then we were empowered. And we wanted to instill that in them while they were young, before anyone can come to them and say that they are this and that. They know who they are, and they can't sway them. So that's another tip. Tune out any outside noise.
Mm,
Anybody that is telling you, you want to do that, why? Or no, you can't homeschool your child. And there are some people that have not made it through the public school system. That does not mean that you cannot teach your child.
mm,
Don't let them tell you that you are less than because you had not received a degree or whatnot. Like, honestly, the teachers in the school system are no better of a teacher than you can be with your child, whom you birth, whom you
yes.
have been put on this planet to parent. And I feel that parenting and homeschooling goes hand in hand. It's just homeschooling is parenting in overdrive.
Yeah, I
And I
love
love it.
it.
We love it.
That is amazing. I love that so much. You gave
Yeah.
some amazing gems that I'm sure we had some hand applauses. Yes, because it was so amazing.
I
Oh,
have
what you
more if y'all
shared.
want. So
Yes, because you actually have a free guide for everyone. Also.
yes.
So, yeah, we'll get to that too in the future. So, because you're so generous,
Yes.
which I appreciate. That can really
I
help
don't
the
want you all
family.
to start from scratch.
No,
Yeah.
exactly. Like
Mm-mm.
learn from the those who have been through it so that you
Yes.
can like shrink your timeline and not go through all the frustrations and all the hangups that maybe we did. So I
Exactly.
agree with you. So you have a lot going on. Like you're a wife, you're a mom of three, also you're a photographer, you're a writer, you're a business owner. Tell me, how are you able to do it all? How are you able to create that balance, that harmony in your life where you're not like pulling out your hair? I mean, because you have
Yes.
beautiful hair, it's still there.
Well, first, by the grace of the Creator, absolutely, that I'm able to take the time and just find that balance. And I could not do it without my husband. Absolutely could not do it without him to help me balance it all. Um, for me, it was important to show, like, I know that there are some parents that put their dreams and goals aside until their children reach a certain age or whatnot. And for me, I feel like we should normalize our children being in the business space and learning the craft, or for you to continue on with what you're aspiring to do, as well as parenting them. I feel it gives them that drive to do more. It gives them inspiration, and it also doesn't fuel that stigma that children are a burden, because they're not. So when you have them alongside you, running your business, as I write, as it comes to me, I put a note in my phone, and then once they go to sleep, I can type it all into the computer. As we go to photography appointments and gigs and whatnot, our daughter, she was there learning the camera, or holding the camera, or even
Wow.
interacting with the children. So the children there that are there nervous to take pictures, they see another child and they're like, oh, well, this is going to be fun, because this woman brought a child. Like, she wouldn't bring a child if it was like strictly business. So they look at it in a different light, and it helps make them comfortable with business and not have it as a notion that it's just stressful. You know, they
Right.
need to see business as, it can be smooth, it can be stressful at times, but it's doable and we can do this.
Absolutely. I love it. You drop again, you're just dropping the gold nuggets for us to catch.
Yes.
But I love it that you have the support of your husband and then you also incorporate your children into the business. So it's just a seamless part of your home, like homeschooling lifestyle. So it's really like a
Yeah.
lifestyle that incorporates business and family time and education. Is just, you know, very
Yes, yes.
holistic, just life. So
Yes, exactly. It's
I love
linear,
that.
it's not
Yes.
just one thing. It's how we learn. It's supposed to
Yes.
all connect.
Yes, exactly. And it all comes together.
Yeah,
So, yeah. So, yes, it's doable.
absolutely.
So, tell me a little bit about like how we can support your business. Like, what are some of the names? How can we like be there if we wanted to find out about your writing or your photography? Like, yeah,
Yes.
tell
Okay.
us.
So one of my first businesses, alongside after photography, is Nubian Moon Time, and I created that business to support those who. There are some parents who are shy or shameful or just not knowledgeable about moon time cycle or menstrual cycles. There are some parents that shy away from even talking about sex. So
Mhm.
with that company, I read a book a long time ago that inspired me. It's called Malia's Moon Time.
Mm,
And when I read that book, it gave a natural approach to dealing with the moon time cycle. It gave tips on the foods to eat that can help ease any pain. It gave the reason why moon time cycles occur, because for so long, um, we have been told that it was such a bad thing, that it's a curse and all this other stuff.
mm,
So it gives a holistic approach to teaching your child about what the moon time cycle is and how to care for themselves during that time.
mm.
So with that, I created a basket that also has healthy pads or healthy tampons, some sweet treats, some journals, because we need a journal during that time. That's a very sacred time, and so much great things flow to us during that time. So definitely write
Absolutely.
it out. And so that's what I created with Nubia Moon Time, to help support mothers, to help support women, to help support young ladies. Um, and then as
Amazing.
of recent, we have segued into providing postpartum baskets. As a mother of
Oh,
three who has home birth, our last two have been home birth, our first at a birth center. I found the importance of having those baskets and that postpartum period of supporting mothers, and not just mothers, fathers, and the children that are already in the home. So in that kit is herbs that will help ease their cramping afterwards. It's their what do you call it? Basically, all the things that help ease the pain and uh, bring help bring everything together and healing
yeah,
during that time. Some
yeah.
teas, cold compresses, all those things.
Nice.
And we added to that the service of breastfeeding, peer breastfeeding
Nice.
counseling, just
So,
as of recent. So yeah,
yes.
it has been a beautiful journey.
I love that.
Yeah.
I wish that was available. We had our last two were home births, but we didn't have Nubian moon time.
Yes.
But that would have been
That's
really good to
already
have that comprehensive, because I end up
yeah.
having, to like have an acupuncturist and, a
Mm-hmm.
person that, like different specialists. I had to like piece it together kind of
Yeah.
myself, but to be able to go to one place and also to be able to support a Black business would have been
Yeah.
amazing. So, family, please support. This is amazing
Yeah.
services, and I love that are bringing. This is something that's very much needed, and there is a
Absolutely.
lot of ignorance when it comes. Like, just people just don't know, and like you
Right.
said, there is a lot of like stereotypes or just misinformation, and so
Yeah.
to be able to get that information that is positive and uplifting and will help you to deal with this cycle in a loving, peaceful, harmonious way.
Yes. Yes.
It's
Absolutely.
powerful. And with the, natural herbs and like you said, the pads are natural because the
Mm-hmm.
unnatural ones do cause heavier menses
Mm-hmm.
and,
More
cysts and
issues.
fibroids and all kind of stuff is
Yeah.
associated with that. So I'm sure you educate on all of that. That's
Yes.
amazing.
Yes.
So do you have any other like projects or anything that you want to share with us?
Yes, so I do have a YouTube page where I do share some homeschooling tips, mothering, wife, all that, the lifestyle. I do a few blog videos there. So you can check me out, Abundantly Beautiful, on YouTube. And as well, I have a book that will be released soon, where we're aiming for January, and it's called Seeds of Manifestation: How We Conceive, How We Use the Law of How We Use the Law of Attraction to Conceive Our Children After Multiple Miscarriages. I know it's a long title,
Mm,
but but we needed all that in there. So in this journey, even with our, like I said, even before we had children, we talked about homeschooling. We talked about how we wanted to birth them. And after we had our first daughter, and we birthed in a birth center, which was beautiful. We figured, hey, we're going to have these footstep children. They're going to come every 2 or 3 years. Yes, let's build our village. And it just did not happen that way.
Oh,
And so, through our trials and tears, we wanted to finally come out with our story to inspire others and let them know that it is possible, that there is a way that you can conceive and that it's okay. I think it's just so stigmatized in our community. No one talks about that big elephant that is sitting there that says, hey, infertility or PCOS or all these different things that go on. And there's help, there is assistance, there are groups, there are so many resources out here available to assist, and my book is going to give you a lot of those resources and tips that we use.
I love that. That's
Yes.
amazing because my
Thank
journey is similar to yours, and I
you.
know I'm sure a lot of other families can relate, which led to because I was infertile and I had PCOS and I only had
Wow.
menses or moon time cycles, maybe two, three times a year. And so
Yes.
I end up, becoming vegetarian and vegan. And on my 1 year vegan
Mm-hmm.
anniversary, I found out I was pregnant with my firstborn. And
Oh,
I
yes.
know I didn't have to do the IVF that they suggested or the
Yes.
hormones. I just changed my, diet and lifestyle and
Mm-hmm.
purged a lot of unhealthy thoughts. And, it was a
Yes.
whole process. But I thought he was going to be my only one. And then when he was 10 months, found out I was pregnant again and with twins.
Oh, beautiful.
And then, when the girls were a year and a half, the twins, it was another
Yes.
one. And so yeah. So,
Beautiful.
yeah. So, what you do is so powerful because
Thank
maybe,
you.
again, other people don't necessarily have to go through what we went through. Like, I
Yes.
had to research for like 4 years before I found out, what I can
Yes.
do and see all the specialists. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. But I really want
Exactly.
children, but I don't want to do that. So, what can I
Right.
do? And it sounds like you have the solutions because you've been through this
Yes.
and you have definitely the tools that a family that is going through this would need to
Yes.
get to the other side where you are.
Absolutely.
Three
Yes.
beautiful
Yes.
babies.
Right.
I love it. And tell me a little bit about your academy too.
Yes. So, when I say when you don't have a village, create it, that's what we did. So, even when we initially moved to Georgia, we moved within 2 hours of Atlanta, which was still kind of far to drive back and forth to the co-ops that were already established there. And we lived in Augusta at the time. There were homeschooling families. We'd meet them, sometimes seeing them at the library. So go to your local library or playground. You will find them during regular school hours. You will find
Absolutely.
people that are homeschooling.
True
And
story.
yes, that's what we did. And during that time, we just built play dates. We will meet once a week, and then we'd start talking more into what we were teaching and just exchange information during that time. It did grow into where I did a tutoring service for about a year before the pandemic hit. And after that, about a year forward, then we moved further into Georgia, which we became closer to Atlanta. And just now, everything is virtual, but we're now building still that local co op. However, I share resources on both pages of what you can do at home, what you can do in your communities, different curriculums you can use, different ways of teaching. Like, there's so much, and you want to cater to the way that your child learns, and that's the beauty of homeschooling. You can really hone in on how they learn and how you can cater that, whatever that box curriculum is or that stack of books, how you can create it, curate it to how they learn.
Absolutely. I love it. Such great gems. So thank you so much.
You're
Now,
welcome.
yes, we love it. We're getting lots of love.
Thank you. Thank you. I love y'all back.
So now I want to open it up to questions. So does anyone have any questions that you would like to ask Simone about homeschooling or moon time? Oh, they said thank you. It's
Thank
amazing.
you.
So, so we're opening up to questions. So if you have any questions about anything that Simone has shared, you want a little bit more information, this is the time to get your questions answered. But I can understand if you don't have any because she covered the whole gamut. You're dropping them like it was hot.
Yes.
Loved it. So good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Really, really, really powerful. And
Thank you.
again, for those you want to get in contact, if you want more information, you can go to IG and Facebook at Nubian Moon Time. Also, she has tons of resources on her YouTube channel at Abundantly Beautiful. And then if you want to find out more about her co-op and online academy, you can visit IG and Facebook at Royal Lionheart Academy. So, yes, let's see. Do you have any questions? Yes, she covered so much. I don't think you have any questions. You just did so good.
Well, thank you. That means I did well.
You
We can
did
we can
so
definitely cover
well.
more.
You did so well. Well, I want to thank you so much for your time, your energy, your love, your resources. Also, you have a resource for us. I can drop it in the chat really quickly. Um, do you want to talk about the free resource that you're going to share?
Yes. So the free resource that I'm sharing is an adult book list, which I can also provide the children's book list very soon if you're interested in that as well, everyone. And so what that book list is African centered reading material that will really help you support in knowledge of self, support in building up your children, support in a lot of our psyche that has to be unlearned and relearned in order for us to be our best selves in teaching our children. So that is a list. I am a bibliophile. I call myself.
Like me.
I love books.
Oh, me too. I typically
Yeah.
read about 2 books a day. One
Oh
on
yes.
personal development and then something on typically, so I dropped it in the chat, and then something that has to do with fun, like something
Okay. Yes.
fun.
So, a light read. Yes. Okay.
Yes,
I'm
like right
not
now,
alone.
like Dragon Shifters, sci-fi.
Right, right. That's
And
my balance now. I
yeah,
have an Octavia Butler book, Dawn. I finally got a hold on. Thank you to my friend who gave me that. So,
I love
yes,
that.
balancing that
Yes.
with self-help books. So, yeah.
Yes, because today was the book was Entrepreneurial Negotiations. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Sounds
So, book of
interesting. Yes.
was very interesting. Very,
Yes.
very interesting. So,
Yes.
let's see. We have someone said, "Thank you for everything. It has really helped me to have the courage to do what's best for my family."
Thank you. You're
You're
welcome. Yeah.
so amazing. Oh, someone says that the resource says access denied.
Okay.
So you have to
We'll
make
go
it
back
maybe
into that.
available. Yeah, she'll make it available for everyone that has the
Okay.
link. So
And
we
we'll
got you.
resend it if we have to. And we can also post it, maybe post it into the group if
Yeah,
need be. Yes.
sounds good. Sounds good. Okay. Well, it was wonderful.
I
connecting with
enjoyed.
you.
Thank
Yes,
you.
it was so much fun. It's always
Yeah.
wonderful to see your beautiful face and feel your beautiful
Yes, you too.
energy
It's
and
been a while.
positivity.
Yes.
I know. This has been really great. We got
Yes.
some more thank yous. So, family,
Yay.
stick around. We have our silver sponsor, which is the Black Girl Magic, who sponsored this series, which is really amazing. So we're so appreciative. So we'll have some information about that, and we also have another homeschool resource, a manual that'll walk you through all steps. So stick to the end so you can get your resources. And thank you so
You're
much
welcome. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
again. Thank you.